emails about the best way to support someone who is going through cancer treatment. Say you have a loved one or a friend, family member, or yourself going through treatment and you want to know how to best support yourself or someone else. I wanted to do this live to show you the best way to do that. So number one, we want to empower someone that's going through a cancer diagnosis, and the best way to do that is to actually let them know that taking control of their diet and their nutrition during treatment or even after is one of the greatest ways that we can actually control our life and the trajectory of our health and even the trajectory of our treatment. So when it comes to diet and cancer, there are three different angles we have to consider. Number one, prevention. When it comes to prevention, we know that diets that are rich in plant foods are linked with reduced rates of cancer. For cancer survivors, people who have already gone through treatment, it's really important to focus on prevention as well, because we want to prevent not only disease recurrence of that cancer, but also secondary cancers that cancer patients are actually at risk for following quite intense and toxic treatments like chemotherapy and radiation, unfortunately. The next thing we want to consider is prevention of malnutrition or malnourishment. We know that malnutrition causes 1 in 5 cancer-related deaths, so we want to support our body as much as we can through treatment and after to prevent malnourishment and hopefully prevent any sort of very severe consequences that are related to that. And the third angle in terms of nutrition and cancer is making sure that we are consuming foods that have been scientifically proven to help fight cancer cell growth in laboratory studies. So I wanted to show you this evening a quick cancer-fighting smoothie that you can make for yourself as a method of prevention if you want to be proactive, or you can make someone who's actually going through cancer treatment, or recommend to someone who has just completed treatment and wants to support their body, restore their health, and really bolster their immune system. So this is the Ultimate Cancer-Fighting Smoothie. It is found on my website. The link is provided below, backtobalancenutrition.com. And you can alter it if you don't have every ingredient, it's okay, as long as we are getting an abundance of different plant foods and some cancer-fighting foods that have been shown to, again, suppress cancer cell growth in laboratory studies. So what we want to do is we want to always start with the liquid part of the smoothie. So I have soy milk here. Soy milk is, this one is non-GMO, or you can get organic, which automatically implies that it's not non-GMO or not genetically modified. Soy milk is still quite a controversial topic for many people, but in terms of the medical literature, every single study that's ever been done since 2009 on humans has actually shown that whole soy foods are linked with a reduction of occurrence, recurrence, and mortality for breast cancer, as well as helping to reduce the risk of prostate cancer by up to 50%. So I like to start with soy milk myself. Soy is very beneficial for cancer prevention because it contains phytoestrogenic compounds called isoflavones, which actually block the dangerous estrogen that we can either consume from animal products or the dangerous estrogen that's actually found in our bodies. And it's quite a controversial topic still, even though the science is so strong now and so well established on its cancer-fighting effects. So with soy, we want to remember that there's actually 2 estrogen receptors in the body. That we have an alpha receptor and we have a beta receptor. Dangerous estrogen, such as animal estrogen that is found within our body or animal foods, binds to alpha receptors. The estrogens that are called phytoestrogens in soy foods bind to the beta receptors. And when phytoestrogens are actually bound to the beta receptors in our tissues, for example in breast tissue, they block the animal estrogens that are dangerous from binding to alpha receptors. So it's actually, the mechanism actually blocks the dangerous effects of estrogen, whereas some people still think that phytoestrogens like in soy or flax are linked with increased risk of breast cancer. So the opposite is true. Make sure that you consume whole soy foods on a daily basis if your aim is prevention of breast cancer and prostate cancer. All right, next up, I have some leafy greens. This is some kale that I grew myself. I'm very proud of on my balcony. Kale grows like a weed, by the way, so it's really easy to grow it yourself. And so just throw that in there. Kale is a leafy green. It's actually the highest, it contains the highest concentration of nutrient density per calorie. So it's really important to have your leafy greens. And kale is also a cruciferous vegetable which contains cancer-fighting compounds called isoflavones, which need to be blended, chopped, or chewed in order to actually be beneficial and have cancer-fighting effects in the body. Always remember that when it comes to cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, kale, cauliflower, make sure you chew them really, really well so that we have a conversion that occurs, cancer-fighting effects in the body. Always remember that when it comes to cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, kale, cauliflower, make sure you chew them really, really well so that we have a conversion that occurs from the glucosinolates into isoflavones. So I like to include kale. Next, I like to include something sweet. So bananas are great, or dates, and bananas actually are also high in fiber and vitamins and minerals as well, and they actually have antiviral compounds, which is wonderful. I love bananas. Don't be scared of fruit. Don't be ever scared of whole fruit. Next, in terms of fruit, we have some berries. This is just a half a cup of berries, and berries have a cancer-fighting compound called ellagic acid, which is an anthocyanin. And ellagic acid actually can help prevent the growth of blood vessels by cancer cells, or tumors, I should say, which is called angiogenesis. So berries are anti-angiogenic, which is wonderful. They're also delicious, high in fiber, high in water, high in hundreds of phytochemicals. So berries are our friend when it comes to smoothies. Next up, I like to include broccoli or broccoli sprouts. And again, this is a cruciferous vegetable. It does contain isoflavones, just like the kale, but it also contains a rockstar isoflavone called sulforaphane. And sulforaphane is highest actually in broccoli sprouts or the broccoli stems, but I don't have broccoli sprouts today, so I'm going to use the broccoli plant itself, the adult plant. And sulforaphane has actually been shown to help inhibit breast cancer stem cells. So it's really, really, really powerful. Even chemotherapy doesn't always target these stem cells, so really, really beneficial to add some broccoli. Now we can also add more milk and water as we go along. Next up, we have flaxseed, just some ground flaxseed. Make sure it's ground. 1 tablespoon goes in there. And flaxseed has omega-3s, and it also has phytoestrogens called lignans that help to, again, reduce the risk of breast cancer, as well as prostate cancer and other hormone-driven cancers. I also have chia seeds here that I like to add with the flaxseed for the omega-3 content. Flax seeds do have omega-3s, so do chia seeds, I should clarify. But chia seeds are also really, really beneficial when it comes to the soluble fiber they contain. So they really help with regulating bowel movements and binding to excess hormones and toxins in the colon and excreting those out. I also now like to include turmeric, which is just some ground turmeric powder with black pepper here. About 1 teaspoon. You can start with 1/4 though, that's totally okay. Work your way up to 1 teaspoon. Turmeric belongs to every single group of chemopreventative substances that actually help to induce tumor cell death or cancer cell death, actually cause cancer cells to commit suicide, which is called apoptosis. Turmeric can also block carcinogenic action, which of course helps to prevent any sort of DNA mutation that then can lead to cancer. And it also helps to bolster our immune system, and it also inhibits tumor growth. So always include turmeric. It's great. And if you have any chronic pain, turmeric is also an anti-inflammatory or has anti-inflammatory compounds, I should say, so it's wonderful for that. And next up, I have, we can't really see it here, but I have barley powder. I just get the organic version of barley powder, 1 teaspoon goes in there. Barley powder is high, of course, in chlorophyll and other phytochemicals, but you can actually use any organic green powder if you want to. You don't need to. It's just something that I like to do just to increase nutrient density of my smoothies when I have access to that. But it's not a necessary thing. I also like to include a powder called amla powder. It is a Indian gooseberry powder, very high in vitamin C, also is the food that has the highest concentration of antioxidants on the planet. And next to it I have matcha. I put them together, matcha powder, because green tea and matcha, you can just get an organic green tea powder like this. I put them together because green tea is cancer fighting due to the EGCG that it contains, but vitamin C actually helps to with the absorption of those compounds called EGCG. So I like to include either the amla powder or an orange, for example, or a little bit of lemon juice. Doesn't really matter how you go about that. So now I have my smoothie ingredients. I will probably add some more water to this and some more milk, blend it up. But the other thing you can actually do when it comes to these foods, when you're either making a smoothie in the morning, which is amazing, or you make the smoothie for your breakfast or for lunch or for a snack, you can also start to include these foods in your daily meals by including, for example, pre-washing your broccoli or pre-washing some red cabbage, which is another cruciferous vegetable, keeping them in your fridge and just having access to them, and finally chopping them and adding them to any meal you can, like your soups or your salads or wraps or sandwiches, or even just snacking on them, right? With a little bit of guacamole or hummus or another bean-based dip is amazing. Turmeric, of course, you can add to curries and stir fries. You can also add it to like a hot tea latte, like with almond milk or oat milk or soy milk. But it's really, really good in smoothies because you can't really taste it, especially if you're adding the bananas and the berries. And I like to also sometimes add cilantro, cinnamon, vanilla bean, and so everything kind of just kills that turmeric, that really intense taste if you're not really used to it. When it comes to flax, I like to include flaxseed in my cereals, my oats. Muffins are great, but flaxseed is also wonderful in stir fries. It gives stir fries that nice kind of nutty flavor, and so most people don't think about that when they're thinking of how do I use my ground flax. But stir fries are a great way to do it. And of course, just sprinkling it on a salad, whether that's a vegetable salad or a fruit salad, and maybe making some energy balls with walnuts and dates and hemp seeds and some flax as well. So all of these things are quite easy to actually, or all of these foods, I should say, are quite easy to use in our daily cooking, our daily dishes, our daily meals. So I just wanted to add that if you are looking for the full recipe of this smoothie, it is on my website, again, under recipes. And if you'd like to learn more about how to eat a diet that is cancer protective, I do have a brand new course. It's launching on September 1st. I'm offering 10% off right now until August 31st. And you can find a link to that on my website as well. Under programs, you'll see the anti-cancer diet kickstart there, the 7-day anti-diet kickstart, I should say. So I hope that helped you guys.